Looking to buy or sell your property in the Central Kansas region? Look no further than Jeff Butler, the trusted real estate agent at Cornerstone Premium Real Estate LLC. With years of experience and extensive knowledge of the local real estate market, Jeff is committed to helping you make the most of your investment. Whether you're looking to purchase a new home, sell your current property, or invest in commercial real estate, Jeff has the expertise and the resources to guide you through the process. At Cornerstone Premier Real Estate LLC, we pride ourselves on delivering exceptional customer service and personalized attention to each one of our clients. Our team is dedicated to help you achieve your real estate goals, no matter how big or small. So why wait? Contact Jeff Butler today to schedule a consultation and learn more about how we can help you with your real estate needs. Give Jeff a call, 620-755-9720. Or you can email Jeff at jeff@cornerstoneks.com. You can also visit cornerstoneks.net to get started.
This episode is sponsored by Big Fish Bail Bonds. Big Fish Bail Bonds is your first choice in bondsmen. We are located 3 blocks away from the Sedgwick County Jail in Wichita, Kansas. We accept all major credit cards and we accept payment plans on big bonds with no collateral in some cases. Find us at bigfishbailbonds.us or give us a call at 316-262-4100. Big Fish Bail Bonds. Big or small, we release them all.
Back Home Media.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to a Kansas Missing and Unsolved podcast. I'm your host, Ricky Chabruggi, and joining me today is Derek down there from Arizona. How's it going, Derek?
Pretty good, man. I just sent you like 30 text messages. We're not going to Salina. Have your brother add me as an admin, and I'll try to fix it so we can go there before we cover that case.
Add him as an admin on the Salina police scanner so he can try to fix the thing so it's going there.
I don't have the power to do that, dude.
Why not?
Because I turned all that over when I sold it.
Oh, shoot. You don't have the power to do that anymore because he turned that over to somebody else. We'll get a hold of whoever it is and see if they can do it.
What do you need done?
He needs to be added as an admin so he can fix what's going on and get this over to the Salina police scanner.
We got Chris Unruh in the house.
Hey,
somebody's
Chris.
chatting in one of the groups. I think it's going to be the Kansas Missing and Unsolved group.
I don't know.
Sometimes, yeah, they don't show us names on that. Ellen Dawson's here.
There's Rodney. Hey, Rodney.
Esther Unruh. Yeah.
Esther's here. Hey, Esther.
Yeah. So yeah.
Okay. Hang on.
Just have Terry share this live stream into the Salina page. Just have Terry do that real quick, and we'll go ahead and
just go over to Kansas Missing and Unsolved, grab the link, and post it in the tweet.
I can do that.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. Just have him let us.
He's sitting over here to my right, so.
Yeah, I could hear him in the studio. I could hear him in studio tonight, so I figured maybe he could help us. We got R.J. Burgess from Phillipsburg, Kansas. Not sure what that is.
That's up close to Nebraska.
Oh, nice.
Kind of 2.5 hours west and north of me.
Kendra from KC, a 35-year Salina native. Good to see you. Good to see everybody here. Yeah, we have a lot going on. A lot going on for sure. We're trying to get this going over to the Salina page. There's a lot going on in the Salina area. We're going to cover a lot of those cases tonight. But I guess we'll just go ahead and get into it. We do have a lot of cases to cover. And as soon as we know that we're at the Salina page and we're getting some people commenting over there, we'll go ahead and get into this case that we definitely want to cover. But as for the time being, we always want to cover Dietrich. And remember, $5,000 governor's reward. If you have any information on this case, please contact us. Ricky's going to tell you all about it.
Yeah, this is Dietrich Foster. He's missing from Independence, Kansas since April 12, 2020. He was 37 when he went missing. He's now 40. He is 5'9", weighs 190 pounds. He has black hair and brown eyes. He was reported missing around May 12th of 2020, but he was last seen around April 12th of 2020. KBI agents and detectives from the Independence Police Department are conducting the case as a homicide based upon findings during the investigation into Dietrich's disappearance. Again, at the time of his disappearance, he was 37. He's now 40. He's 5'9", weighs 190 pounds, has black hair and brown eyes. If you have any information regarding Dietrich's disappearance, you know his whereabouts, please call the Independence, Kansas Police Department at 620-332-1700 or the KBI at 785-296-4017. And as Derek mentioned, there is a governor's reward of $5,000 for information leading to the arrest and conviction of those responsible for the disappearance and suspected murder of Dietrich. So let's see if we can't get information called in and help get him located and back home. And I do know they are planning a big media blitz on his case around April 12th again. So, and they've asked us to be part of that. So hopefully, we can get that going here next month.
Yeah, that's I always liked that anytime there's any kind of an update, even if the update is simply just them announcing that, hey, we're still looking,
Right.
A lot of times for those family members, that is a godsend, because a lot of times, and this is nothing against investigators, if you think you can do a better job, they're hiring. But when you're dealing with somebody who's missing and there's not a lot of information about, where they are, you don't typically get a lot of phone calls from investigators because they're not going to get your hopes up. They're going to call you when they have some information. But it's always nice to see any kind of, obviously we cover, a lot of cases weekly, but it's nice to see anytime Dietrich's name gets brought up in the press. And, we talked about it last week about how this town that he went missing from isn't super huge. It's not tiny, but it's not huge. So, as we said last week, somebody definitely has to know something in these types of situations. So, to me, $5,000, it could change. I know you, Ricky, I know $5,000 would change my life. Would it impact in your family?
Most definitely.
I mean, and I hate to be, like that and talk about money in a situation, but I mean, that's a really good motivator. So if you know something about this, there are ways for you to get that information to police and not have to ever say your name. So, if the town that small, something like this happens, people know something. So if you're watching this and you feel compelled, please reach out to the page, but definitely please reach out to law enforcement at the numbers you see on the screen.
Right. Definitely. Please do that.
All righty. Let's talk about Dana Jane Bruce. And we had, when I was looking last week, we had mentioned quite a bit of stuff that I found on some other publications that are covering this case. But yeah, go ahead and read the flyer, and then we can talk a little bit more about what we talked about last week. And I'm going to read a personal message I got about it.
Okay. Again, this is Dana Jane Bruce, missing from Sedalia, Missouri since October 4th, 2008. She was 23 when she went missing. She'd now be 37. She is 5'2", weighs 98 pounds, has brown hair and green or hazel eyes. Dana was last seen at her children's babysitter's home in Sedalia. She'd left the children there earlier that day so she could go out for the evening. She returned at midnight and gave the babysitter more money and asked her to watch the children for the remainder of the night. Dana was seen at Malone's Bar on Main Street with a young man driving a late model red Ford F-150 truck earlier on the night of her disappearance. She left with the man at 11:30 p.m. Police have identified the man that Dana was with that night. He traveled to Atlanta, Georgia after her disappearance, and police questioned him about Dana after he was arrested there on unrelated charges of marijuana possession and driving on a suspended license. Authorities have not named him publicly, but they are calling him a person of interest in her case. He told his questioners that he and Dana parted ways after they left the bar, and he never saw her again after that. She left all of her belongings behind, including her hairbrush and toothbrush. She does not have credit cards, debit cards, checking account, cell phone, or a car. Again, at the time of her disappearance, she was 23. She would now be 37. She's 5'2", weighs 98 pounds. She has brown hair that was colored brown at the roots, black at the ends with red highlights, and green or hazel eyes. She was last known to be wearing a black shirt with the word Rebel and silver lettering on the front and blue jeans. Dana has a tattoo of a teddy bear with the word Dylan, with wings with the name Dylan on her upper left arm. She's blind in her left eye. She does have a 2-inch scar along her lower spine and a staple scar on her right shoulder. Her ears are pierced one time each. If you have any information regarding Dana's disappearance or you know of her whereabouts, please call the Sedalia, Missouri Police Department at 660-827-7823 or 660-826-8100 or in Missouri State Highway Patrol at 573-526-6178. or their toll-free number, 866-362-6422. And, again, if anybody has any information, no matter how minute you think that information is, get that called in to investigators, because it may be a huge piece of what they need to move this case forward. So please get it called in.
Yeah, and last week, we had kind of talked about, I found on a website, like a web sleuth web, kind of like what we do, but it's just another group of people that do it. But
Right.
that there was somebody said there was a source that somebody said that a woman had went to Salina Police Department years back and claimed to have intimate knowledge about not Salina, I'm sorry, Sedalia, had claimed to have intimate knowledge about what happened to Dana Jane Bruce. And from what we heard on what I read on the website and what I heard from a source that, we have a vocal source that comments, each week about Dana, and that apparently that is true. And sadly, it doesn't seem like the woman who had, information about what happened was taking super serious, because it sounds like she had a little bit of a history with, issues and stuff that the police felt like maybe she wasn't a reliable source. But if anybody knows who that woman is and she wants to talk, I'd love to talk to her. It seems like anybody that has any information on any of these cases should be taken seriously. Again, I'm not Sedalia Police Department. I don't know this woman or her background or who she is. Maybe they know a great deal more about it than I do. But it's always nice to find little snippets of information to know that other people like Ricky and I are very honed in on trying to find out what happened here. So.
Yep, definitely. Be nice to actually, get her found and back to her family where she needs to be.
We got Andrea over here and from Junction City on the YouTube chat page. Double T hanging out in YouTube land, also sitting next to Ricky.
Yeah.
Kelsey Youngblood.
Yeah, Kelsey hanging
it.
with us from New York. She's up here in New York.
Yep. She's getting ready to move to Phoenix. No, I'm just kidding. I keep telling her she's from here. She's like, I'm never moving back there. I'm like, come on, just move to Phoenix. Let me see. Ellen Dotson. Yes, no problem, Ellen. We're going to continue covering this case. Ellen, by the way, if you do know who that woman was, if she's still around, I would love to talk to her. I'll listen to her. I'll take her seriously. I'll see what she says. Because at the end of the day, this was a very long time ago. And Dana has children, family members, friends that all deserve answers. And I feel like if anybody has any type of information, that it deserves to be put out there in the public, because who knows what kind of, domino effect that could have with solving a case.
Yeah.
Let's talk about our buddy Kenny Wrightcheck. And I just before you get started on this, I am my mom's kind of a web sleuth. She's got a lot of don't tell David Relaford, but Rhonda Relaford pays a lot of yearly fees to a bunch of newspaper.com, all these places where you can basically get archives. So I am going to have her try to find, and again, this is a great picture for Kenny because it looks like it was probably pretty close to when he went missing. But I'd like to get more pictures of Kenny from when he was younger, just to kind of get to know him a little bit more, and just talk about Kenny. So again, if anybody watching this show has any pictures of Kenny or knows where there are any, let us know and get those to us. Because again, we have a good picture of Kenny. I feel like this is an adequate picture of Kenny to get him found. But I feel like I would like the people to get to know that he's not just, a guy that was 69 years old and the information you see on the flyer. He's a person. He lived in Salina a long time, and I think a lot of people knew who he was. So go ahead and talk about Kenny here.
Okay. Kenny's missing here from Salina, Kansas since November 4th, 2019. He was 69 when he went missing. He's now 72. He is 5'9", weighs 175 pounds, has gray hair and blue eyes. He does sometimes use the last name Brown as opposed to his given name Wrightcheck. He does suffer from diminished mental health capabilities and is on disability. He has not tried to access any of his money since he was last seen. He may have family in Northwest Kansas, possibly around the Colby area. He was last seen at the Gospel Mission here in Salina. He left there and has not been seen or heard from since that time. He does not have a cell phone, a vehicle, or any identification. His main mode of transportation, actually his only mode of transportation I'm aware of, is his bicycle that he would ride around and pick up scrap metal around town, take it over to It used to be called Salina Iron and Metal. Now it's called All Metal Recycling, and he would sell it there for some pocket money to carry around with him. Again, at the time of his disappearance, he was 69. He's now 72. He's 5'9", weighs about 175 pounds. He has gray hair and blue eyes. If anybody has any information regarding Kenny's disappearance or you know of his whereabouts, please call the Salina, Kansas Police Department at 785-826-7210 or Crime Stoppers at 785-825-8477. You can text SA Tips to Crimes, which is 274637, or go to www.pd.salina.org and follow the Crime Stoppers link there to submit a tip. Or you can call the KBI at 785-296-4017 and see if we can't get Kenny located and back to where he needs to be. It's been way too long. It'll be 3 years this November if he's not found before then. I know a lot of people speculated they found the remains of a body out south of town. It was partially hanging from a tree, and some people were speculating that it was Kenny, but it was not. They put out an article today. Let me see if I can grab it real quick here, where they had identified that body. And
while you're digging for that, one other thing that we've talked about is the fact that Kenny was evicted a few hours before his disappearance always is going to remain a point of suspicion in my mind. Additionally, I'm wondering if his benefits are being exploited for anybody's personal gain. And honestly, I just really want to implore the public to come forward. Any information you have that can shed light on this matter, please contact the number you see on the screen. Right. Ricky's going to read you an article.
Yeah, as soon as I located her, I had to get the stupid ad off my screen. Okay, the body was identified as 57-year-old Todd Smith out of Kansas City, Missouri, but he does have family here in town. He was born here in town. His family had reached out to law enforcement late last year after they lost contact with him. The sheriff said the family last seen Smith on November 28th, reported him missing on December 7th of 2022. His body was found by a couple of men riding a UTV in the 1100 block of West Fairley Road on Saturday afternoon, so just this past Saturday. So, yeah. They're saying at this point that they're looking at it as suicide, so. But, yeah, a lot of people were speculating that it might have been Kenny, but it wasn't, so. But our prayers go out to that family as well, to Mr. Smith's family. That's a sad deal.
Yeah. Well, I hope we can get some information on that, and for sure. Yeah. Kelsey says, joke's on you because I'm not in New York.
Oh, well, okay.
Where in the world is Kelsey Youngblood San Diego? Are you in Phoenix? Did you finally take my advice? Diana Hayden finally caught a lot. Yes, you did. Welcome.
All right, Diana. Good deal.
Welcome to the party. Let's talk about Alexander Perez.
Okay. He's missing from Ulysses, Kansas since December 1st of 2020. Was 35 when he was missing. He's now 37. He's 5'11", weighs 235 pounds, has black hair that he shaves nearly bald, and brown eyes. Alex had contacted a family member on the phone December 1st, said he'd be coming over to do some laundry. He never arrived at the family member's home in Ulysses, and he's not been heard from or seen by any family or friends since then. And he had been staying with family and friends prior to when he disappeared. It's believed that he may still be in the local Ulysses area, or he may be in the Garden City or surrounding area. Again, at the time of his disappearance, Alex was 35. He's now 37. He's 5'11", weighs 235 pounds, has black hair that he shaves nearly bald, and brown eyes. He has a tattoo of a bumblebee on his face underneath his left eye. Has Perez tattooed on one of his arms, and he has a tattoo of a cross on a chain across his chest. And you can see the photos of the chain on the chest right down there at the bottom, and you can see the bumblebee in a couple pictures up there at the top. If you have any information regarding Alex's disappearance, or you know his whereabouts, please call the Grant County, Kansas Sheriff's Office at 620-356-3500, or the Ulysses, Kansas Police Department at 620-356-4600, or KBI at 785-296-4017. And again, let's see if we can't help get him found and back to his family, because I know they are just really looking hot and heavy for him and trying to find him and want him home. So let's see if we can help make that happen. Again, this one's it's coming up on 3 years.
Yeah. 3 years, December 2020, pretty much right when we started doing this show, right before we started doing this show. You know, and again, it's one of those cases where there's been minimal progress on this investigation. You know, that's kind of a running theme here on a lot of these cases that we would consider kind of cold, you know, that are years old. We did obtain a voicemail. It was sent to one of our sources, and this was actually sent a few days after Alexander was last seen, and we're going to play it. You know, and this is one of those things where we've played this audio several times on the air, but you know, maybe tonight somebody that's supposed to hear it can hear it, and this potentially could provide new leads and insights to this case. You know, and obviously we're going to, you know, remain dedicated to uncovering the truth behind Alexander's disappearance. But here's a voicemail that was sent to our source. We'll be right back after this.
I don't know, man. I'm supposed to be going back early morning to go get some shit and then go get some other stuff down there and bring it back down here, but I don't even know, man. It's been wild down there. It's been crazy. Fucking been held at gunpoint and robbed and tried to beat me up. Fucking, it's a bunch of crazy shit going on in GC, man.
Yeah, very ominous call.
And if you want to, you know, obviously we cover Alexander's case every week. If you want to join the fight to bring Alexander home, there's also a Facebook page, facebook.com/find Alex Perez. It looks like it has around 291 followers. So if we can get that boosted up, get more people following that page. Also, there's a page Kelsey Youngblood does, Alexander Perez Missing Ulysses, Kansas. All of these flyers and all of these Facebook pages that are here, you know, need to be shared, need to be liked. People need to be aware of these pages, and it really helps the family out. Another Facebook user in the group says, "Sorry, I'm late. It's okay. We're just getting started."
I don't know what it is about groups where they don't show the names. I don't understand that.
Yeah,
we're gonna know we haven't covered Nellie yet.
We have not, and no problem, Cherie. We want to cover as many cases as we can and be as big a help as we can for everybody out there.
Yep, definitely.
Okay. Are we going live to Salina? We have 30 people here here watching the live stream.
We're in there.
Okay. You want to go ahead and talk about Nellie?
We can. That's fine.
Okay, let's go ahead and discuss this case. And please, right now, before he covers this case, share this show to 2 friends. Let's get a lot of people in here. We got some great developments on this.
As you can see, I used pictures of Nellie from a clipping of an article from back in 1981. The pictures aren't the best, but so far that's been the best I can do. And excuse me, the one up on the left, it says, was her graduation picture from nursing school in the mid 1920s, and the one on the right is a 1979 birthday photo at age 77. So right now that's the best I've got. But this is March 14th, 1981. This murder has been unsolved for 42 years. She was found deceased in her residence at 1008 East Elm on a cot that she slept on in the living room. She was covered with a sheet, and the scarf she usually wore was found on the floor. I was told that it was possibly found in the kitchen on the floor. Nellie put up a struggle during her attack, and she died of asphyxiation. She also suffered 8 broken ribs. One was broken in 2 places. She also had a broken bone in her throat. She also had an injury on the back of her skull. She also had bruises on her arms, and there was evidence of other internal injuries. The only evidence that they have found of the killer at this point was some blood evidence that they believe was not hers, and the cigarette lighter up there at the top, which I finally, after a lot of dogged searching and finally got. That's the actual lighter that was found under her body when they moved her body. It was underneath her, but that is the actual lighter. That's not a duplicate. That's not one like it. That is the lighter. Took me a bit to get it, but I got it. But anyway, upon searching Nellie's home, they found $93,000 in cash and over $100,000 in CDs or certificates of deposits, and a large quantity of silver coins that went all the way back to 1886. I also read some other articles where said they found some tokens from like the old Salina Railway and things of that nature that were in her home also. They also discovered that her home was filled with miscellaneous household items, trash, and other clutter that made two of the bedrooms completely unusable. We do, and and I still feel like this too. After 42 years, she deserves to be able to rest in peace. And like I said, 42 years is a long time. So, get this flyer shared around there. There's other posts where it just shows the lighter, get that post circulated around. Since I posted that pictures of the lighter with details of her case in the Salina Police Scanner group, I have noticed that post has really taken off, and like nearly 8,500 people have seen it. So it's getting out there. People are commenting, people are talking, and it's great to see that. So, if anybody has any information, get a hold of the Salina Police Department, 785-826-7210, or Crime Stoppers at 785-825-8477, or text SHIPS to crimes, which is 274-637, or go to www.pd.salina.org and follow the Crime Stoppers link to submit a tip, or call KBI at 1-800-572-7463. Let them know what you know. They were saying, I'm gonna give you some information on the lighter real quick. It was part of a series of lighters that came out in the 1980 presidential election, and they were sold in various places around Salina and all across the state, and they don't know how many were sold. So, what I've been saying, what I said last week was like, if you've seen somebody using this lighter for a period of time and all of a sudden it was gone and no explanation, no rhyme or reason, that's the kind of information. I was also gotten to think about it since then. When it said series of lighters, I don't know if that means it was like a little box set that had like 3 lighters, 4 lighters in it or whatever. If somebody had something like that, if it was a series and they had these lighters in a series, like in a little display box or whatever, and all of a sudden the lighter you see on the flyer on the screen there disappeared from that set, I would get that information into police as well, because that could be important too. So again, let's help her rest in peace. It's been 42 years. I know chances are, the killer may not be with us anymore, but you never know. So get that information called in, please.
And sadly, a brutal murder like this is a stark reminder. It's a stark reminder, that there's horror in this world, and there's a 100% lack of respect for human life, and it's crazy because Salina is a great place, like earlier when Alexander Perez was talking about Garden City being a crazy place. I lived there for a decade and I didn't have any problems, but it's really about, the people, and it's just really a reminder that evil exists everywhere, and this has been over 40 years that this case remains unsolved, and like we said, Salina is not a tiny, not a huge city, but it's not, it's not tiny either. But, like Ricky said, it is possible that someone has vital information, that could bring closure to this case. I don't know what kind of, descendants Nellie has, but I'm sure if there's people out there that, if there's not anybody left, me and Ricky care. We want justice. So again, we urge anyone with information, come forward, contact the authorities. No detail is too small. Every bit of information can make a significant difference in the case. So, let's go ahead and Ricky, I just want to applaud you for, interjecting yourself into a situation and sort of, because the thing is you triggered a domino effect that made the police find that lighter, that's really cool. That's really cool. I'm glad, happy for you that you did that, so sad I was late.
I'm pretty confident that they did dust it for prints. I don't know if they've tried to get DNA off of it yet or not, but I'm hoping that's the next line of where they go to, as well as with the blood evidence that they found that they feel like was the killers. Hopefully they'll try to do some DNA testing on that if it's still a usable sample, and see what they can get from that. That would be a big help too.
Right. So, well, I'm glad there's some movement on that. Facebook user, I'm still working on trying to help on my end with contacting the newspaper and about possibly more photos of her.
That might be Kelly Upoff. It might be Kelly, because her and I have been talking. We talked in Messenger after the show last week and stuff, and she was going to try to help me do some deep diving and figure out a way to maybe find a better picture, because right now that's the ones that are up there are the best I've been able to find. So
right. Chris says, Crystal C, I'm late, but I'm here. Hi, Ricky and Derek. Hello, Crystal C.
Hey, Crystal.
Diana Hayden, let's hope some of these past cases get solved. I also noticed that people seem to know some details on her case. Talk a little bit about that, because you posted this on KMU and you posted it in Salina, the Salina page that your brother started, years ago. Describe the reaction.
Well, I've noticed some comments in the Salina Police Scanner group where people that were living in that neighborhood at that time said, something like, we pretty much know, people in the neighborhood pretty much know who did it, that they were responsible for a break-in at Nellie's neighbors and stole some coins from that location. And I asked, was that information given to police? And I haven't got an answer on that yet, but, it's just comments like that. People were talking about how they were neighbors and lived close by and how it affected them at that time and things of that nature. And like I said, myself, I lived 4 blocks away from there at the time. This was on at 1008 East Elm was where she lived. I lived in the 700 block of East Ash. I was 3 blocks down, 1 block over. So, I was close. I was like 13 years old at the time. But, yeah, that's been mainly the reaction. A lot of people just, saying they like to see it get solved and talk about how they, like I said, how they lived in that neck of the woods at that time. A buddy of mine, he lived about like a half a block away from there around the corner on Des Moines Street. And he was out for a jog that night. And he was telling me that he had gotten stopped by police in question just because he was out jogging. And like I said, we were 13 at the time. So actually, I think he was 14 because he was like about 4 months older than me. So he probably would have been 14 because I hadn't had my 14th birthday yet. So, but yeah, it's hopefully, like I said, somebody's got some pieces that can put this puzzle together. We just need to get it called in.
Yeah.
By all accounts, everybody talking about how she was a dear sweet woman and how they went to church with her. And one comment was she was a nurse for a family and that she was a gentle soul. And so she was known and liked by a lot of people. Here, now Kelly says she thinks she fixed it, and she did because I can see it's Kelly.
Why don't they help? What's good is it to say we know who it is? And I was asking the same thing. If somebody could explain, if you have the knowledge and warehouse and the gall to post on a public forum like a Facebook page that who killed somebody, like why can't you take that same energy to the police station and put an end to this? I just don't understand.
I even put in the comments, if you have information, call the police department, call Crime Stoppers, get it out there.
Yeah. I guess people have the reasons, but come on, folks.
If you want me to turn the information in for you, message me privately on my Facebook, Kanas Missing Unsolved. Email me, kansasmissingunsolved@yahoo.com. I'll relay it for you. Anything to get it to the police department.
Let's talk about Emma.
Okay, this is one that I did this morning. It's Emma Winger, missing from Lawrence, Kansas since February 6, 2023. She's 5'7", weighs between 115, 120 pounds. She has blonde or strawberry hair and hazel eyes. Not much more on her. If you have any information regarding Emma's disappearance, or her whereabouts, please call the Douglas County, Kansas Sheriff's Office at 785-841-0007 or the KBI at 785-296-4017. Let's see if we can't get Emma located and back to where she needs to be.
Right. Yeah.
And Douglas County just got this on their Facebook within the last couple of days. So why, a lot of people are questioning why did it take like 6 weeks to get her information out there, which is a good question. But let's just see if we can get her found and back to where she needs to be.
Right. And I wish we had some more information. I do like that the information it looks like that is out there publicly, save your page, is your good buddy Annette Lawless is covering this case.
Yeah, she is.
Talk about a great woman in the state of Kansas doing big things in that lawless. I don't know her personally. I don't, have local news there, but I'm in Arizona. But everything that you've shared with me of situations where she's talking about cases that we cover, I think she does a really great job at doing what she does. Let's go ahead and see here.
She does a phenomenal job.
I live up the street from the couple that got murdered here in Junction City, and sadly, I know the guy that did the careless act, but glad that he was found and arrested.
Yeah, I was just reading about that. That was a double homicide over there in Junction City. Yeah, that was a bad deal. I don't remember the details. I would have to go back and reread it, but yeah, it was a pretty bad deal. Just a lot of bad, evil stuff going on.
Not good at all. Diana Hayden says they said they would talk to you privately. I'm assuming they didn't follow through. Dang it.
Not yet. Still waiting. I did comment that they could message me privately on my Facebook, and I haven't heard anything just yet. So waiting.
Right.
I have no problem giving the information and keeping it anonymous for people. That's not an issue for me. I've done it many times. I don't have a problem doing it. So it looks like we're going to talk about Michael Wiseman Templeton. He was found recently and went missing again on the 23rd of March from Parsons, Kansas. He's 17. He's 6'5", weighs 245 pounds, has brown hair and blue eyes, maybe in the Fort Scott or Parsons, Kansas areas. And he's 17. He's 6'5", weighs 245 pounds, he has brown hair and blue eyes. If you have any information regarding Michael's disappearance, his whereabouts, please call the Parsons, Kansas Police Department at 620-421-7060 or the KBI at 785-296-4017 and see if we can't get Michael located again and back to where he needs to be.
Yeah, and just because I've been trying to kind of do research on the fly while we do these shows, because I learn about these cases while we do it. Parsons is actually southeastern Kansas and about 9,500 people as of 2020. So again, not a huge city, but big enough for someone to get lost. So yeah, that's it looks like Parsons is famous for being the former home of Governor Kathleen Sebelius, basketball player Blake Ahern, and country music artist David Nail. So a little bit of history in that town. I'm here to teach you about Kansas, I guess. Share it on my social media again. Thank you so much, Crystal.
I neglected to mention with Michael, he's got that tattoo of that cross and that rose on his right forearm there, you can see. So it's a good identifier.
Yeah, for sure. That's going to be easy to spot. Trisha Arnold is here. No problem, Trisha. We got a lot of cases.
Didn't see you last week, Trisha.
No, well, I don't think anybody. Didn't we? Yeah, it was kind of weird. We had we had some issues. I think people kind of gave up on us a little bit when nobody could hear you. Let's talk about Gabriel Newton.
Yeah, this is one that I've actually done one for him before, and so this is the second one. Last one was like middle of last year. But this is Gabe Isaac Carl Newton, missing from Topeka, Kansas. It's March 25th, 2023. He's 17. He is 6'3", 170 pounds, red hair and blue eyes. If you have any information regarding Gabriel's disappearance, of his whereabouts, please call the Topeka, Kansas Police Department at 785-368-9247 or 785-368-9551 or 785-368-9200 or KBI at 785-296-4017 and see if we can't get Gabriel located and back to where he needs to be.
Yeah. And that's this is one where you is this the one okay, this is one we had to update, right?
Yeah, I had another photo on there that I was asked to take off because he was not doing a very nice gesture in the photo. I tried to crop out as much of it as I could, but I couldn't do it without kind of messing with the face, so I didn't want to. I tried.
When you told me to take it down, I looked at it and I was like, oh yeah, you can tell that's what's happening.
Yeah.
You could tell. Trisha said mother's not been well. I'm sorry to hear that.
Sorry to hear that, Trisha. I hope she gets better.
Yeah. That is no good. Real quick, there is a National Runaway Safe Line. It's a 24/7 hotline. confidential support, and it's great. It's a great resources for youth and people and their families. 1-800-RUNAWAY. That's going to be 800-786-2929. There's also a chat. Like you can go to the it's just www.1800runaway.org, and you can chat with somebody there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, there's also a Kansas Runaway and Homeless Youth Program that provides temporary shelter, counseling, and support services to anybody who may be missing on their own accord in the state of Kansas. And there you can find that on the DCF website. There's also a Safe Place program. It's a national program and it provides immediate help and safety to youths in crisis. And you can call them at the 1-888-290-7233, or you can text the word safe and your current location to 69866. Just a couple of resources for anybody who might be missing on their own accord and want to find their way back home.
Right.
Go ahead and talk about Shay. We're going to go to Nebraska.
Okay, this is Shay Rule. I did this one today also. She's missing from Lincoln, Nebraska since March 26, 2023. She's 5'2", weighs 130 pounds. She has black hair and brown eyes. She was last seen Sunday night, March 26th, in the 1000 block of West South Street in Lincoln. And she's 13. She's 5'2", weighs 130 pounds. She has black hair and brown eyes. If you have any information regarding Shay's disappearance, you know her whereabouts, please call the Lincoln, Nebraska Police Department at 402-441-6000 or Nebraska Missing Persons Clearinghouse at 877-441-5678. See if we can't get Shay located and back to where she needs to be.
Yeah. Lincoln, Nebraska.
Yeah.
She is very young, 13.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So, yeah, anytime you see that, somebody that's like 13, that's really scary. You got to wonder if they're with somebody who's allowing a 13-year-old to be there on their own accord, knowing that people are looking for them. That's always a little bit scary for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's talk about Alex LaRussa.
Okay.
Yeah, this is going to be a Crime Stopper. I mean, one of the cold case cards from the deck.
Yeah, this one's back from December, but I wanted to cover him again. He's missing from here in Salina, Kansas since December 8th of 2017. He was 25 when he went missing. He's now 30. He would be 6'2", 175 pounds, black hair and brown eyes. And last contact he had with family was at 4 a.m. on December 8th. He is wheelchair bound and his left leg is amputated above the knee. The vehicle he was driving was found on a farm in New Cambria, which is northeast of Salina in Saline County. His cell phone, his clothing, his wheelchair were all found in the vehicle, among other items. And at the time of his disappearance, he was 25. He'd now be 30. He is 6'2", weighs 175 pounds, has black hair and brown eyes. He has a tattoo on the left side of his neck that says pain. He also has two on his chest. Excuse me, one's on one side is a star. The other is on the other side. It's the number 13. If you have any information regarding Alex's disappearance, you know his whereabouts, please call the Salina, Kansas Police Department at 785-826-7210 or the KBI at 785-296-4017, or their 800 number is 1-800-572-7463, or you can call the Salina, Saline County Crime Stoppers at 785-825-8477. And see if we can't get Alex located and back to where he needs to be, because it's going on 6 years this year.
6 years. For some reason, I thought this was a little older than that.
No, 2017.
Wow.
My brother.
I mean, 6 years
as well.
is a long time ago.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here at True Case Files. It's a website, and they're covering this case. And they're saying that he went missing around the town of New Cambria.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like a population of like 400 and some change, So
That's
like
a small place, yeah.
Not a lot of people there to, you notice somebody's not there, especially somebody in his situation where he was wheelchair bound and, I don't know, man.
Yeah. It just doesn't sound good though when you figure they find the car abandoned in a rural area with his phone, his clothes, his wheelchair, and other items in it. So I mean, on the surface, doesn't sound good. But again, I'm confident that somebody knows something, and they need to get it called in and see if we can't help get him located.
Yeah. That is a tiny little town, man. So
Yeah, it is.
hey Ricky, has there been any updates on that missing elderly couple from Nebraska?
Not familiar with that case. I'll have to look into that.
Yeah, or if you could send their names, we could probably get some information on that. Sticking in Salina, let's talk about Mildred Hawks.
Yep, this is another unsolved homicide from here in town, Mildred Hawks. This was Halloween night, 1987. And she was found deceased outside of her residence at 919 North 7th Street in Salina, Kansas on October 31st, 1987, by a passerby. The passerby said the front door was left open and the screen had been pried from a south basement window. Salina police surmised that an intruder broke into Mildred's home late Friday night or on October 30th, 1987, or early Saturday, October 31st, 1987. Tied her up and raped her. Police said she freed herself, but moments later died of a heart attack in her driveway while trying to summon help from a neighbor. Police said that the phone lines to the home had been cut, and no suspect or suspects have ever been arrested in connection with this crime. So if you have any information regarding Mildred's murder, no matter how minute you may feel it may be, please call the Salina, Kansas Police Department at 785-826-7210 or Crime Stoppers at 785-825-8477. Or again, you can text SA Tips to Crimes 274-837 or go to www.pd.salina.org. Follow the Crime Stoppers link to submit a tip that way, or call the KBI at 1-800-572-7463 and let them know what you know and see if we can't help get Mildred some justice for her and for her family. It's sad.
Yeah. What's even crazier is like there's not a whole lot online about Mildred.
Nope, there's not.
Actually, the only news article I found is mainly about Catherine Adam.
Yeah, I should have had her on tonight's show, and I didn't. There was hers and Beverly Logan. Maybe I'll talk about those two on the next show.
Yeah, we should. Yeah, but we're covering. Yeah, there's like they're covering up there. So, Catherine Adam, Tom Young, Nellie Hubbard, William Farmer, Miss Molly, Mildred Hawks, Gina Cyphers, Beverly Logan.
Yeah.
So those are a lot of those we're covering tonight. But not a lot of information about Mildred Hawks online.
Yeah.
She has a paragraph.
Yeah.
2 sentences. I'm being nice. 2 sentences, really.
Yeah. I can't remember where I found all the information that I have on the flyer, but I mean that's still pretty bad. I mean, tied her up and raped her. I mean, an 85-year-old woman, and she was still able to get herself free, and she succumbed to a heart attack in the driveway. That's pretty bad. This is another one that initially I had a hard time finding a photo for Mildred, and just by sheer grace of God, one of her family members got a hold of my brother and supplied it to my brother, and he forwarded it on to me. So that's how I got that photo. But for a long time, it was like Nellie's, no photo available. But we've got that now. So
yeah, I mean, I do listen to a lot of true crime stuff, and you hear about these awful things that happen to people, and I just like, I don't know what I believe spiritually, but I do feel like when you die, your soul kind of goes to a place where you're surrounded by so much love and light that you have no knowledge of what a hardship is. You have no knowledge of any of the terrible things that happen on this planet, so like that's one thing, that I try to, and maybe that's just me compartmentalizing and trying to make myself feel better. But like, I just feel, and I know how, you're a spiritual person, Rick. I just feel like, at least she's in a better place and probably has no knowledge that this horrible thing happened to her. But at the end of the day, that's all fine and great for her. But if the perpetrator is still out there, they have to pay for their crimes. They're still on Earth. They have to pay for their crimes.
Yeah.
Well, another Salina. Is this Salina? Yeah, Gina Cyphers, right? Let's go ahead and talk about this case.
Yeah, this was back on.
Real quick before you do that, I just realized we had a couple comments I wanted to get to. She says the couple from Nebraska was found dead on a low maintenance road, no foul play.
Oh wow.
She says, "Oh, how awful! I'm not familiar with Mildred's case at all." Here's a great comment. Mildred was my grandmother.
Oh wow.
Deb, reach out to the Kansas Missing and Unsolved Facebook page. We'd love to talk to you. And we, like I said, I just looked and I didn't see a ton of information online. We'd love to improve that situation and put more information about there. Trisha's telling her so sorry. Diane, my heart is broke for your family. I want justice for your family.
Definitely.
I wish all these would be solved. Thank you so much for tuning in, Deb. And we want to help you figure things out as well. I was just going to say I found that info out too. Okay. All right. Gina Cyphers, and then I didn't mean any disrespect to get away from, but I just did see that we had family of Mildred in the chat. So
okay, yep, this is back December 28th, 1995 here in Salina also. She was 24 years old at the time with an infant son, and by all accounts, Gina Cyphers was a loving mother and good person. Gina dropped off her 15-month-old son at daycare program. It's called Morning Out for Moms at the Salina Church. When she didn't return a couple hours later to the daycare called Gina's boyfriend at work. He went to the mobile home where they shared and found the young woman brutally murdered. The baby was suddenly without a mom, and police were left with a case that has been proven to be a tough one. There was a crowded mobile home park in the heart of the city with trailers that were close together. The violence happened sometime between 9 a.m. and noon. Still, all these years later, Gina Cyphers' murder still is unsolved. Initial newspaper reports said she was stabbed, but police are keeping a lot of details secret. They have a lot of leads that have gone nowhere. And I've mentioned this before when we've covered a case. The trailer park that this occurred in is no longer. It's just a big, empty, vacant lot. It's just west of Broadway off of Cloud on the south side of Cloud. And it's just, like I say, it's just a big, empty lot now. There's nothing there but trees. So... But if you have any information on Gina's death, please call the Salina, Kansas Police Department at 785-826-7210, or you can call Crime Stoppers at 785-825-8477, or text SA Tips to Crimes, which is 274-637, or go to www.pd.salina.org. Follow the Crime Stoppers link to submit your tip that way. You may get a cash reward up to $1,000. And you're not required to give your name. So there's that. And there's also KBI 1-800-572-7463. And there's also a governor's reward of $5,000 available for the arrest and conviction of the person or persons responsible for Gina's death. So, get that information called in. I know I say this a lot, but no matter how minute, how small you think that piece is, maybe a big piece of what they need to put some pieces together. So get that called in quickly as you can and let them know. Let's see if we can get Gina and her family and her son, some closure and some justice.
Right. And it's always important to remember that there's always hope for justice in unsolved cases. Like, I feel like us as people, as a society, we have a duty to try to help bring closure to anybody involved with, the victims, their families, all of them, anybody that's involved with an unsolved crime. I feel like it's kind of, if you know something, you kind of have to say something. It's just like your duty as a human being, as a team member of this, society, to speak up about information that you have that can help bring justice to a family that really needs it. And at the end of the day, we always talk about families needing justice. But if this happened in your community, your community needs justice. You need to live in a safer, more just community. And you shouldn't be okay with a monster walking around your community, unscathed by what they did. So just always want to remind people, again, if you know something about a crime, like it's almost like your duty as a human being to report that. And luckily, in some of these cases, like Ricky's saying, there is a cash reward. So that's obviously if that's how you're motivated. But I just feel like as a society, we have to help these situations.
Yeah, that's what he was just sitting there telling me. I muted my mic for a minute, and he was just telling me that, Deb. So thank you very much. I really appreciate that.
She says, I used to live in that trailer park in the late 80s or early 90s.
Yeah.
Trisha says, exactly, people need to do the right thing. 100%.
Yeah, I agree.
You have to do the right thing. I really do hope answers are found for all these poor innocent souls, and those missing are found unharmed. To Mildred's family, I'm truly sorry for your loss, and I pray there will be answers and arrests. Me too. Me too. All these people we're talking about need to...
Yeah. Yeah, and Deb, I was also going to say, too, that we have covered Mildred's case quite frequently on the podcast, and we'll continue to do so.
Yes. Let's talk about Sarah Gardner, Kansas City case.
Okay, yep. She's been missing from Kansas City, Kansas since March 6, 2023. She's 39. She's 5'9", 160 pounds, blonde or strawberry hair and hazel eyes. Said she was going to go to Arizona, but was last known to be in the Kansas City area. She was known to be driving a black 2006 Audi A4 with Wisconsin license plates. And she's 39. She's 5'9", weighs 160 pounds, has blonde or strawberry hair and hazel eyes. She was last known to be wearing a black and white striped hoodie and blue jeans, which is what you see pictured up there on the top right. If you have any information regarding Sarah's disappearance, you know her whereabouts, or you see her car, please call the Kansas City, Kansas Police Department at 913-596-3000 or the KBI at 785-296-4017 and see if we can't get Sarah located and back to her family.
Yeah. I don't even know what date. I'm so it's been 22 days? Wow.
Yeah, it's been a little while.
And again, a lot of times we cover teenagers on this show. So I always get a little extra worried when I see, somebody closer to my age, missing. People that are my age have places to be, so very scary for sure. Let's talk about Cole Firestein. This is a case that we've covered 3 or 4 times, and I always feel for him because I know that you mentioned that he has some issues and stuff that he's dealt with. So let's go ahead and talk about Cole.
Okay. He's missing from Leavenworth, Kansas since March 15th, 2019. He was 24 when he went missing. He'll now be 28. He's 5'8", weighs 300 pounds, brown hair and brown eyes. He is legally blind when he's not wearing his glasses, and he had no ID on him at the time of his disappearance. He had previously lived in Atchison, Kansas, and only had been living in Leavenworth for about 2 weeks before he disappeared. Again, at the time of his disappearance, he was 24. He'd now be 28. He's 5'8", weighs 300 pounds, has brown hair and brown eyes. He's last known to be wearing a South Pole brand navy blue jacket with red and white stripes down the side and the arms, blue jeans, and may possibly not be wearing shoes. If you have any information regarding Cole's disappearance, you know his whereabouts, please call the Leavenworth, Kansas Police Department at 913-651-2260 or 913-682-4211 or the Clue hotline at 913-682-2583 or the KBI at 1-800-572-7463 and see if we can help get Cole located and back home where he needs to be.
That's been quite a while. It's hard to. Been several years, couple years, so. All right, go ahead and talk about Roberto Familia.
Yeah. He's missing from Junction City, Kansas since March 20th of 2023. He is 24. He's 5'6", weighs 155 pounds, has brown hair and brown eyes. He is an inactive U.S. Army soldier based in Junction City with family in Florida and New York. His cousin stated they last had phone correspondence with him on March 19th and says the message he sent showed possible signs of distress that caused them alarm. They say he does suffer from PTSD. Again, he's 24. He's 5'6", weighs 155 pounds, has brown hair and brown eyes. If you have any information regarding Roberto's disappearance or you know of his whereabouts, please call the Junction City, Kansas Police Department at 785-762-5912 or KBI at 785-296-4017 and see if we can help get Roberto located and back to where he needs to be so his family knows he's safe.
Yeah. And then let's talk about Anthony. Is it Sinisgali?
I believe it's Sinisgali, yes. He's missing from here in Salina since August 17th of 1987. He was 36 when he went missing. He's now 72. He is 5'9", weighs 160 pounds, has black hair and brown eyes. He was last seen by his family at Jerry Ivy Park in Salina, Kansas on August 17th of 87. His wife saw him driving east on his way home from work at Beach Aircraft Corporate in Salina, which is no longer in existence. It's under a different name now. She followed him to the park. He stopped near the restrooms and spoke to her. He was surprised to see her and told her he was not feeling well. Anthony's wife tried to convince him to let her drive him home, but he refused, so she left him to go get help from her brother. When they returned to the park, he was gone. His car was still there by the restrooms, locked with his belongings inside, including, I believe, his lunch that he took for work that day. He did not show up for work the next day, and he's never been heard from again. Anthony's social security number, credit card, and bank accounts have not been used, and he has not contacted any of his family. He was devoted to his two children, and it is uncharacteristic of him to leave without warning. He is originally from New York, where his parents, who are Italian immigrants, live. He's been living in Salina for about 9 years prior to his disappearance. Anthony's family fears that he became homeless. They distributed missing persons flyers in New York and Florida, where his sister lived, but he's never been found, and his case does remain unsolved. If you have any information regarding Anthony's disappearance or you know of his whereabouts, please call the Salina, Kansas Police Department at 785-826-7210 or KBI at 785-296-4017. And see if we can't help get Anthony located and back to where he needs to be. And I need to update that flyer because I want to include the Crime Stoppers and the SA tips and the www.pd.org and the Crime Stoppers link there that you can follow to submit a tip. And see if we can help him get him located and back to where he needs to be.
Yeah.
And I have had an occasion to talk to his wife a couple of times, and it's still very hard for her after all these years to still talk about Anthony's disappearance. So let's see if we can help her out and get that information in to help get him found and where he needs to be.
Yeah. Sorry, I am doing some work behind the scenes because I forgot to do something, but I am with you. Last case tonight is our featured case. Let's talk about Thomas Young.
Yeah, this is
very sad situation.
Yep, another Salina case from July 11th, 1977. And he was reported missing by family on Monday, July 11th, 1977. Thomas was an owner-operator of the Lift Tavern at 150 South Broadway. An employee of the Lift reported walking out of the business with Thomas on July 10th at about 12:45 a.m. The employee then observed Thomas walk back into the business. When the same employee returned to work on July 11th, 1977, Thomas's vehicle, a 1977 white Chevy Corvette, was still in the parking lot, and the business was secured. Thomas's body was discovered on July 12th, 1977, in the Raggedy Ann Tavern at 260 Smithers. The tavern was owned by Thomas and was in the process of being remodeled. The cause of death was listed as a homicide. A message from the family of Thomas Young: we would like to ask the public to please come forward with any information they may have in regards to our dad, brother, husband, friend, I'll have to make sure, see if that's, let's see, 1977. Let me see if that 40, I don't think that 41 years is accurate anymore.
Okay.
It would be 45 years, so I need to fix that. And closure for everyone would be satisfying. The way a case was handled 45 years ago is so different than it is today. Due to technologies and procedures, we're asking for any assistance that may give us closure we're looking for. So if you have any information concerning the homicide of Thomas Young, please call the Salina, Kansas Police Department at 785-826-7210. Or you can call the Crime Stoppers number at 785-825-8477. You can also send text your tips to SA Tips to 274-637. Or again, www.pd.salina.org. Click on the Crime Stoppers link. You may receive a cash reward up to $1,000, and you're not required to give your name. So again, no matter how small that information is that you might have, get it called in. See if we can help get some justice for Thomas's family.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and we don't have a located safe. How many people were located safe this week?
I had a couple. That was it, like 2. So yeah, not enough to do a reel on. So I'm gonna hold on to those and see if next Thursday we have enough for a reel. And I do need to check up on a case because I think I may have a located deceased to update.
You really?
Yeah. Let me see if it's been. I don't see anything in the media on it yet, but I did see a couple family members posting this morning saying that this was in regards to Craig Hackney, that he had been found but not in the way they had hoped, and so it sounds like he was located deceased. So,
oh my gosh,
prayers and our thoughts and prayers go out to Craig Hackney's family. It's a bad deal.
Yeah, that is not good.
Yeah.
Did you ever find out the circumstance, the young kid that was found deceased that we talked about last week?
I haven't heard any news on him.
You do know which one I'm talking about,
Yeah,
though.
I can't think of his name off the top of my head, but I know you're talking about. I'm trying to remember his number.
Yeah.
I remember his name. It was oh darn it, I'll have to look. Because I can't think of it. But yeah, they found him in that pond. So last time they'd seen him, he was going out the door to sell some Pokemon cards, and I can't remember how much time had gone by, and then they find his body in the pond, about less than a mile from his home. So that was a sad deal too.
Yeah, not good. Well, let me see. I'm trying to get this going. I might have to wait until next week, but do you have anything else you wanted to cover? Was there any other updates as far as national cases that we've been? What about the Madeleine McCann thing? Has there been any updates on that?
The only thing I've seen was the gal that they're doing the DNA testing and stuff on. She was on Dr. Phil, I guess, and she just is really insistent that she feels that she's Madeleine McCann. So we'll find out when the DNA comes back whether she is or whether she's not.
Wow. So that's what's going on there. Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, I will have to get with Brandon to finish what I was trying to do because I don't think I'm good enough to do that. But yeah, that is going to be the show for us. We got plenty of comments to get through. She says, no, probably early or mid 80s. It was before my kids were born. I just read that there's a 24-year-old Florida man stationed at Fort Riley went missing. Last time they heard from him was March 17th, and his mom is coming from Florida to file a missing persons report. Have you heard anything about that, Rick?
That was Roberta Familia that we covered.
Oh, okay. Okay, good deal.
Yeah.
Trisha says, great. Muddy Waters said he was found. Okay, yeah. So Muddy Waters must have reported that already.
That would have been on Craig Hackney, yeah. Yeah, I've seen, his sister posted that he had been found deceased, and it doesn't sound like foul play was suspected at all from the sound of it.
Yeah. All right. Well, you know what to do to get us out of here real quick. I want to remind everybody to go to kmupod.com And you can check out some of the cases we feature weekly on here. You can also suggest a case. So if we are not covering something that we need to shine a light on, please make us aware there by clicking the suggest a case portion of the website. You can also visit backhomemedia.com. I produce a ton of shows from all kinds of backgrounds. If you like podcasts, if you're stuck in your car all day and you want to listen to stuff, just go to backhomemedia.com and you can find other shows. And first and most importantly, if you are somebody who's been around for a while and have been sharing Ricky's flyers and paying attention to Ricky's page and his journey that he's been doing for over 10 years now, please visit patreon.com/KMUpod. You can pledge anywhere from $1 to $5 to $3 to $1 million, whatever you want to pledge monthly. And all that money goes directly to Ricky. And that's just to help him, pay his bills, maybe buy some milk. Look at him.
Yeah, sorry about that.
He's got to buy milk, guys. So patreon.com/KMUpod. Please go to that website and become a patron of Ricky. And let's help him bring people home for sure. Ricky, you know how to get us out of here. And real quick, thank you to Brandon backstage for providing all of our video work and also just being a pleasant thing to look at while I do a live show. He's a very handsome man. So
yeah, I was looking at some of the comments down there. There's another one by Diana down there. This is tonight's live is one that proves you guys make a difference. Thank you so much. You're very welcome, Diana. Thank you for that. I appreciate that.
that is awesome.
Yeah, I just want to say, Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing us together to go over these missing persons and unsolved homicide cases. And as always, we pray that the people that see this show and hear about the show will do the right thing and make the calls that need to be made and get that information in there to move these cases forward, to bring people home or bring justice to some families. So let's pray that they'll do that. And until next week, until we see each other again, you guys stay safe, stay healthy. God bless and amen.
Well, I don't think it, I thought it, that's different. I said what I said and I meant it, or lamented. Words given weight without thought, and I curse in the way that I talk, in the way that I ought to be able to pause and to say that the fault can be placed on my arms, to this playful assault, to disgrace in this arm. Pray for the day they could wait for the calm. You can't control the storm, only weather it, whether it's 5 weeks and 5 days of rain sideways, or scorched earth, search for death, or water left with all the thorns, with the petals gone, settle on the breath of autumn.